very, very delayed February video.
Yes.
To be fair, it was only 28 days in February. We had a little time away. We had a lot going on. We got the whiskey out early, but we're just now being able to get together to kind of do our video for it. So for that, we sincerely apologize. Hopefully you either held on to it or you took some notes and used your tasting notes to kind of come back and watch this. But I'm kind of excited to share at least the story of this one. And if you haven't been able to, you haven't heard me talk about it, I talked about it a little bit in the notes. This is one of those bottles that for me is just like everything that's cool about drinking whiskey. So welcome back, guys. Jason, thank you for gracing us with your presence this evening.
I try.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm just going to go ahead and throw it out there. Good news for the delayed February video is that, when I can wrangle him and put a snare trap in his chair over there, you might see us in the exact same clothes continue with the March ones because we've got those poured, they're bottled and labeled. So we might just power through and get those done as well tonight. Could be a little night of whiskey. Back to February. So this is a whiskey that very early on, when we first started drinking some different whiskeys, I picked up, thought a cool story was there, we shared, and I think it changed your mind on what whiskey can be.
Absolutely.
What American whiskey
can
be. And considering that this is a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, it is unlike most other things that I see labeled as Kentucky straight bourbon whiskeys.
Yeah.
Because just the profile notes are very, very different than, you've heard us all before, the vanilla, caramel, nuttiness, oak, vanilla, caramel, tobacco.
It's a mantra.
We'll throw tobacco, we'll throw cinnamon, and we'll sometimes throw cherry cola. I will say there's vanilla in this, but very different. But other than that, that's kind of where it stops. So we were looking at this one, and this is a cool one because this is a Prohibition era, one of the most popular whiskeys in America during the Prohibition era, pre-Prohibition and Prohibition era. That's got some really cool stories. We're going to get back to that in a second. And so started in Paris, Kentucky in 1856. James A. Miller started a distillery and started making chicken cock. Not any real fantastic story behind that. Just dude wanted to make whiskey. You know what I mean? And he's got a cool story, but it's not video worthy.
He's not Elijah Craig.
He's not Elijah Craig. And here's the thing: we were thinking about pre-Prohibition. This is a cool one because it's an old brand that was revamped here recently, and what a cool story. And we were like 1856, and we started going, 1856. That is a while back, but we literally just did Elijah Craig. And you realize that guy was making whiskey in America in 1789. And it's like, you're like, wow. Yeah.
Nuts.
So when we say it's old, it's not that old. But it is still Prohibition era, absolute favorite. What's really cool is when I was doing the research on this, there were so many copycats because it became such a brand and so recognized. Imagine like if Coca-Cola and was the popular drink that all these regional people started making whiskey and making the label look almost just like it, and then just have a couple little things underneath it that make it sound different. But that's what they were doing, was because chicken cock was like the brand. It was the original tagline is the famous old brand. Yeah. Like that's what they call it.
And I think they were one of the first companies to go after other companies for doing that.
Yeah. So the famous old brand, 90 proof. And I think you read something too about so they were smuggling this into super famous speakeasies like the Cotton Club. And they're smuggling them in unmarked cans. Yeah, cans. And what was the price per pint?
It was up to $14 a pint, which would be equivalent to $146.
Yeah, $150 for a pint.
That's where we did not spend $150 on these bottles.
Yeah.
And you got 750 milliliters here.
Yeah. So
pretty incredible.
Crazy what Prohibition was like.
Well, that was a quote from Duke Ellington.
Oh, that's cool.
So, we're talking the who's who of jazz musicians drinking chicken cock in the Cotton Club.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
So again, super cool story and history. The bottles to me are one of the most beautiful bottles in any whiskey. Texturally, it's something that you don't want to set down.
Yeah, it's
well,
cool.
it's like a giant flask style. There's a honeycomb texture to the glass. You've got like a chicken or a rooster like in the actual back of the label. I think the color and the gold leaf and that is, it's just they crushed it, I think, when they were coming back out with it. Now, as a bourbon purist, you're going to drink this and you're going to be like, that's not bourbon. Now, it absolutely is, but it doesn't have the same profile. Damn it, every time.
Yeah.
It's just so different than anything else that we've poured for either group.
It's super unique.
So
And I think that's why we like it too.
It is. For me, it's just a very different pour. And this is not anything I would ever personally mix.
No.
Because of the complexity, because of the uniqueness. Look, I think there's some things with citrus and some other you can do with it that really bring out the flavors to it. But it's so unique. I don't want to muddle it. I want to taste it because it has some unique. So on the nose, so I know I said I'm not going to say vanilla, but it's more like a vanilla wafer. Banana, and then you've got like some citrus, like almost like we've already kind of taken a lemon peel and gotten the essence of the oils from it in there, but
I like the banana.
well, it's almost like when I've had really old rums, and there's like that really, really pungent, like overripe banana. This isn't overripe. It's a very, very
subtle.
Mild, subtle, ripe banana, and almost underripe banana because it's got that sourness and that citrus that's in there. Just very different. It smells like it's already a cocktail, right? Like doesn't have a little bit of that. Like there's something mixed in there. Is there something in your glass?
Yeah.
Yeah. It might have been part of the cork from there or something.
Might have been.
Or a little gnat who wanted something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right. Can add a little bit of flavor to it.
Then you get a little caramel, but it turns to butterscotch for me. And this is something that from the very first time I ever had it, the only thing I could not get out of my mind was the buttered rum lifesavers.
Yeah.
Like that is like 100% when I tell you that, if you've not drank, if you have not drank this already, drunken. If you've not drunken this, drank this.
I think they're both, I think they're both acceptable.
I think they're both acceptable.
I think they're both
I'm going with drank.
Yeah.
Because I grew up in South Carolina. Yeah. If you have not already drank this, and right now if you're sipping this, you're not going to be able to stop tasting those buttered rum lifesavers on the finish. Like it's just crazy to me, and it just instantly sparks that memory in my brain. There's a little bit of like a tart orange finish, and that's where that weird citrus front end smell kind of comes through. And then finally the finish for me is, and as you're sitting there, you've swallowed, it's done, there's like a light almond. There's like almondy, and instead of like those pecans or walnuts or whatever, there's almond and some light wood. And so I love that we're 8, and I can never say like something like light wood without you giggling. By the time we get to the 4th one of these, and I use one of those, you're gonna be like, cracking all kinds of jokes that I have to mute and make sounds through again. So.
You may have to edit that.
All right.
It's delicious.
It's crazy. It's not like
anything that we typically drink, but that kind of butterscotch is
soft.
Unique. It's super soft. It's hard to really explain because it's just so unique from most bourbons that we drink.
Well, when I do like just now, it makes me like when I have a Manhattan or like if I took some bourbon and just added a couple splashes of orange bitters to it, it's got that built into it. Like it's already there. It's got a finish like there is a dry vermouth or like something that's in there that finishes differently. There's like zero tobacco. There's zero. And again, I'm imagining based on color as well. It's a light char. It's a pretty young bourbon, but it still is complex and complex with just different flavors from the normal profile that you would expect from a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. So
it's also not an inexpensive bourbon.
No, it's not inexpensive.
It's this one. The price point on this is a little higher than probably.
Well, not for this group.
Not for this group. No.
Yeah, and then that's the thing. I think if this was the society one, we could never pour this.
No.
You're going to probably pay somewhere in the $65 to $70 range for this bottle anymore. If you're really, really lucky, you're going to find it for $60, but no less. But they're not common.
No.
Like usually when we see it, we'd be like, "Oh, I found a place that actually had a couple chicken cocks," and then they usually only have like two.
Yeah.
You know, so even your big boys, they'll have them, but then they're gone. They make a rye.
Yep. The rye I think might be a little bit more readily available than this one.
I don't know. It's got a green label. They have another companion, I'm sorry, they did like a partnership distilling with some folks that do a brand of the chicken cock that uses the old label.
Mm-hmm.
It's the white label with like a realistic looking chicken on it.
Mm-hmm.
That guy's out there. I have not had that one.
No.
I've seen it once and I didn't get it, and I kind of regret that. But I saw it a lot more when I was back in South Carolina and traveling through the Carolinas. I saw it down there. And then they just released recently they have a 10-year.
There was an 8.
No, I think it was. You were just reading it before we started.
Yeah.
I think there was a 10-year.
There was a 10 and 8.
Yeah, but again, I've never even seen one in a store. They're just it's pretty small, and they came out with something else that was like sold out like that.
I'm almost getting a little bit of black licorice, which is interesting.
Really?
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Yeah. Oh, now that you planted it. You planted
Sorry, I got it earlier, and I thought it can't be.
Well,
but I've gotten it a second time now.
But you know what it is, and this is what I'm saying. That cocktail piece, it's almost like there's some absinthe in it. Like you wash the glass with absinthe.
That's what it is.
And no, that's exactly what it is. Yeah. And it's that same kind of like if we're making a Sazerac.
Yeah.
Like it tastes like it's like a watered down Sazerac or a mild Sazerac where they forgot something, but this is straight whiskey, which is nuts. So. Again, and there's nothing else to say about it. I mean, obviously you can tell we're fans, but for completely different reasons. When I'm going to drink this, I don't break it down like, I'm going to really get into a really great bourbon here. I've never really thought of it that way. No. And I hate it. I'm sorry, folks at Chicken Cock, but it's what I'm going to put up against like a really great traditional style bourbon. But I always have open bottles. Obviously, these are both open. I've got an empty right there on my shelf. Like that's 3 bottles of chicken cock in my house.
Well, it's one of the few bourbons that I keep the bottle.
Yeah.
I mean, I
have a hard time with certain bottles of just getting rid of them.
Yeah.
And this is one of them because I'm like, one day
I'm going to do something with it.
One day something amazing is going to go into this bottle, right?
It's
because it's just a really great looking bottle. It's a great pour. It's not for everyone. I'm the first to kind of go, if somebody's a whiskey purist, they're going to be like, that's not what I like in a whiskey. But if you're a cocktail purist, or if you really like cocktails and you like whiskey-based cocktails, I don't think there's any way you don't like this whiskey on its own because it tastes like a cocktail. Because just the profiles aren't there. So, hey, I'm really excited. I've been in the back of my mind thinking about how we get this into one of the clubs because I just don't think many people, if you saw this on a shelf for $70 and you've never had it, you've probably never heard of it, you would probably never get it.
But this group in particular, I think, can appreciate this because it's something you'd want to have in your collection. It's something you want to have in your collection. It's something unique. It's something different. It's the price point isn't ridiculous, but at the same time, for normal kind of just regular, whiskey or bourbon drinkers that aren't trying to spend, a lot of money, that price point might be a little bit out of their reach.
Or it's just a big risk.
It's a big risk for them.
Yeah.
But I think for us and for those of you that are watching this right now, It's a great bottle to have in your collection. It's got a wonderful history. And there's some other variations out there that would be pretty interesting to go out and find as well. We don't have that inventory in our area, but I'm interested to try some of the ones that we read about.
Yeah, when we go back east, we can definitely. I see it out there, so we can get it. But it's
so it's a recommendation of ours.
Yep.
And we like it, and that's what we do.
It's fun.
We curate the bourbons and the whiskeys that we like.
Yeah.
And we put them out there to you, and hopefully you like it too. And if you don't, that's okay. We'll put something out next month.
They're out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So guys, we hope you enjoy it. I think more than any of the other things we poured, this has just got a hey, tell us what you think, because this isn't like the please pause, press, rewind, and repeat of some of the same notes that we've had in the past. So give us a couple of your thoughts. I'm interested for those of you guys that I see on a more frequent basis to tell me what you think, because this was kind of fun. And it's fun for us. So so listen, guys, please enjoy. We will see you again real soon. If we are in the exact same clothes, please do not judge us. And if he starts making really bad jokes by the fourth one, it's because it's the fourth one.
This may be true.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys,
cheers.
thank you. Cheers, and it's good to see you.